Hey, what's up, everybody? Aaron here. I'd made a video earlier about this David Icke character that's kind of relatively prominent figure in the conspiracy, I'm not really going to say truthers movement, but he's definitely a prominent figure in that community. That type of community, I should say. Now, guys like him and guys like Mark Dice, the guys that talk the game and profit from it. There was a guy, he was actually killed in year 2000. His name was William Cooper. He's, truthfully, leading into the new millennium, he was one of the, I'd say one of the pioneering, he was one of the ones that was the first to speak up about, Masonic societies, the Illuminati, Freemasons, all that kind of stuff. He was one of the originals. And this was a guy. Now, the media, after his murder, that's what I'm going to call it, because there was really no good reason for what happened on that particular day to have happened. I had a lot of respect for the man. I felt a lot of his works. He did a lot of writing, a lot of interviews, things like that, a lot of videos. If you Google or YouTube his name, he did. He put out a lot of stuff, and actually, at the beginning of my journey, as a younger man, I was, in my teens at the time, a lot of the stuff that he put out is kind of what literally turned me on to a lot of that stuff. And as I've stated before, I'm not necessarily a truther. I'm not necessarily one of those people who believes that there is, puppet. I'm just not. I'm not into every bit of it. But if I were to be, he would be the one that I would credit. Now, why am I talking about Bill Cooper? Well, earlier I was talking about David Icke and, people like him, Alex Jones, which, it's kind of a split consensus as far as Alex Jones and what his true motives are, but I pretty much gave my opinion on David Icke. What I believe is at the core of his agenda, which is getting paid. That's my opinion. I feel that he uses these conspiracy theory type topics to get paid, because he knows that there's a niche market for it. He knows that there's people that will pay the $100 to sit for 9 hours and listen to his bullshit. But the reason for this video is there's people, pioneers along the way, that paved the way, for what has now become known as the truther movement, and for, a lot of the movements behind a lot of the different conspiracy theories and whatnot. Bill Cooper is one of, if not the, I'm not going to say he's the first, because he's definitely not the first, but he's one of the ones that really started to kind of punch through that wall, and start actually waking people the hell up. Because he actually came with facts. He came with tangible facts, and this is the guy. Instead of people wasting their time and their money on David Icke and Alex Jones, you can go with somebody who actually had substance to what he was talking about. Bill Cooper. Google that name. I promise you, you will find out probably more knowledge and information from the interviews and whatnot that's on YouTube and on the internet than in a 9-hour lecture listening to David Icke spout bullshit about lizard people. And it's just my personal opinion. I think the guy I don't necessarily agree with everything he had to say, but instead of people, putting, guys like David Icke and Alex Jones and, the people, and Mark Dice and these guys that I personally feel push their own agendas behind, it's kind of, they mask it with the truther movement stuff and the Illuminati and all that, but at the end of the day, they want viewers and they want money. That's what it's about to them. Bill Cooper, at the end of his life, he was actually painted as being a member of a militia because a bogus warrant was out for his arrest for apparently for something, supposedly. I don't know the whole, I wasn't there, so, but based off of eyewitness accounts and based off of, what's known about the situation, it was bogus. And he was shot and killed, basically in cold blood, by sheriff deputies. And, people putting this David Icke and these other jackasses on a pedestal, and making them as the mouthpieces of a movement. No. The guy that they should be looking at is somebody like Bill Cooper, a person that actually was about it. A person that was more than just talk. There was substance to what he had to say. He actually believed what he was saying. I guarantee you, at David Icke's core, he doesn't believe that there's reptilian people, in power. Guarantee you. I guarantee you. But you look at a guy like Bill Cooper that realistically believed that the Illuminati was behind everything. Now again, I'm prefacing this by saying I don't necessarily believe all this stuff, okay? I'm going to say it again. But if I were to, that guy would be the one that I'd be reading. Not David Icke and his nonsense about lizard people and reptilians. That's just me. For me, that isn't believable. But I mean, if you listen to the rationale, I mean, you could tell, for one, the guy was very smart. You could tell that he did his damn homework. He did a lot of research, and he had some people somewhere, within these societies, and he legitimately had something to say. So, do yourself a favor. Check out Bill Cooper. I'm telling you, you won't regret it. Even if you weren't a conspiracy theorist buff, if nothing else, you'll just learn something. But the guy, as far as historical accuracy, he was spot on. I went and validated a lot of stuff that he said, that he had to say. And instead of people wasting their time and their money making these guys rich, go with somebody that actually knows what they're talking about, somebody that actually has substance to what they talk about. I'm sorry, guys like Mark Dice with his social experiments on boardwalks. No, man. There's nothing to it. Nothing to it. I don't believe. I just don't. I mean, Mark Dice, Alex Jones, and David Icke, and Jordan Maxwell. He's another one. I feel like these guys just want to profit off of other people's. It's their agenda. Their agenda is to get paid. They want to get on the TV shows. They want to make the controversial statements so that they can get their name out there. David Icke, he's been successful with that, unfortunately. And another thing, Jesse Ventura did an interview on his old TV show, Conspiracy Theory, with David Icke. And we all know, if you've ever seen that interview, it was staged. It was totally staged. There's no way that David Icke would have done any interview. He never interviews for free, and that is a fact. Okay, if you bumped into him on the street on the Isle of Man, and you were to ask him, hey, could I do a 5-minute interview? I guarantee you he would ask you for money. Well, are you going to pay me for that? No. Then forget it. That's the answer you'd get. It was a bad British accent, but you guys get the point. Bill Cooper, William Cooper. He was somebody that guys like Art Bell, God rest his You know, God rest his soul. Bill Cooper was the real deal, guys. And again, I may not have agreed with everything he said, but the guy wasn't afraid to speak out and tell people what was really going on. So anyway, just my take. Check him out for yourself. Again, this channel is not turning into a conspiracy theory channel, but it, you know, just a few interesting little topics I've had to talk about. I told you guys this was going to be, you know, I'll be talking about a lot of different things. And right now, you know, along the line of frauds and shysters and scammers and con artists, I'm going to actually have something good to say about somebody, and Bill Cooper's one of the people. There will be some other videos coming. I got a lot of stuff, like I keep saying. I've got a lot of things in the works. So just be looking out, guys. If you know about this topic, drop a comment below. Let's have a discussion. Bill Cooper, solid stuff. Very prominent figure, you know, at one point in time. And he's still discussed today. He died in 2000, I think it was. Still to this day, people are talking about him. So that's somebody that made an impact. That's somebody that had something to talk about and had some good stuff to say. So check him out, guys. Do yourself that favor. Alright, guys, you take care. Happy Halloween!